there's one major thing that distinguishes the United States from every other country in the world. And it's not something that's good. It's not something about liberty or equality or freedom. We, the United States of America, are the only country in the world that sentences children to die in prison. This simply isn't just. They have no chance to ever be free again and are sentenced to life without parole, for no good reason. So today, I'm going to talk about why this is ultimately unjust, by examining first the background of juvenile life without parole, then move on to the abuse and punishment that is occurring in the status quo, before finally moving on to talk about the laws that are currently in place, and how we can revise them to ultimately end this terrible practice. So, what does this huge acronym mean? JLY, Juvenile Life Without Parole. Now moving on to the background. About 10,000 children currently are housed in adult facilities for crimes that they committed, because currently children are housed and tried in the adult criminal justice system, and about a fourth of them are serving life without parole. What does this mean? This means that children as young as 8 can be sentenced for life in prison and have absolutely no chance to get out on parole, to be released back into society while still having to check in with a parole officer, which clearly isn't beneficial. If you look at children who are housed in adult facilities today, they're 5 times more likely to be sexually assaulted and 36 times more likely to commit suicide because of the conditions that they have to face. Now you're probably thinking, how is this a thing? How is this still going on? Well, the answer is that it shouldn't be. Currently, there are 2 federal statutes that try to, 1, protect these children who are housed in adult facilities, and 2, ensure that they actually aren't in adult facilities. So these federal statutes state that juveniles who are prosecuted actually should be in their own separate facilities from that of adults. But the problem is that there aren't enough enforcement mechanisms that the federal government has on the states. So these states don't really actually follow these federal guidelines. In fact, only 11 states comply currently with these guidelines, meaning that juveniles are constantly being abused within the system, even though the federal government states that they shouldn't be, which is a clear problem that needs to be addressed. We are a nation founded on that of equality, and we protect our children in every area of the law except when it comes to the criminal justice system. If you look at labor laws, we protect our children. If you look at custody cases, we protect our children. Yet for some reason, when it comes to our criminal system, we just decide to ignore it and to not enforce anything. 13 states have no minimum age for prosecuting children within the adult criminal justice system. There have been cases where there are kids as young as 8 years old who are tried as adults, who are considered to be 18 years or older, even though they're children. They have no right to be in that system. And we're sentencing them to life when they haven't matured yet, and they haven't been given another chance. These children ultimately can't be considered corrupted and unsavable because they are so young. There are Supreme Court cases that now prohibit mandatory life without parole for juveniles, but they didn't completely ban it. This means that state judges ultimately have discretion on whether or not to sentence these juveniles and can do whatever they want in the system, which, again, clearly isn't fair. Luckily, though, there are 5 states that have completely banned juvenile life without parole, and Missouri is one of them. So that's something that we have going for us, but it's definitely something that needs to be enforced throughout the United States to make sure that we are treating our children fairly. Now, in terms of international laws, not only does the United States say this isn't a good thing, but the rest of the world says it's not a good thing. Every single country, except for the United States, has banned juvenile life without parole. Generally speaking, if every other country in the world says something is wrong, it probably is. That's just how it works. It violates children's civil rights, their political rights, and it actually constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. This needs to be fixed. And you're thinking, why? Why does this matter? What does this have to do with me? It's because the United States was founded on equality. And because children are people who need to be protected, their rights should not be violated, as well with all other U.S. citizens. So, what can we do about it? I urge you to go out, to talk to your friends, talk to your family members who live in different states, so that they ultimately can call their representatives and try to make a difference. I hope that all states will ultimately ban juvenile life without parole. But if that doesn't happen, at least have the federal government have the power and the ability to make sure that states are following these federal guidelines and these federal statutes. And I advocate for what I like to call the 3 R's: review, rehabilitate, and release. Now, of course, these crimes that these kids have committed are bad. In some cases, they have murdered individuals, and I'm not trying to excuse that. I'm simply saying that they need another shot. In perhaps 15 years, their cases could be reviewed, and they would have the option to go out on parole, to have that second chance at life. Because everyone deserves a second chance. No one deserves to sit and rot in a prison, especially an 8-year-old kid. So go out, talk to someone, make a difference, because we shouldn't be sentencing children to die. It's not just, it's not moral, and it's not ethical. Thank you.